Hello, my name is your bestest bro. I'd like to thank you for clicking on this video. I hope you enjoy your stay. Please leave a like, subscribe if you enjoy the content, and without wasting any of your valuable time, let's get started in the video. I grew up watching the Yu-Gi-Oh anime, and I remember checking it out on 4Kids TV when 4Kids was a thing, and seeing a few episodes, not truly understanding what was going on, but I really enjoyed the cool monsters and the edgy character design. Like the hair was just absolutely wild. Joey and Yugi's. Back when you had to go to Blockbuster to check out the movies, I was able to check out one VHS tape that was of Yu-Gi-Oh! It was the 4 to 5 episodes of the anime, and I tell you, I watched that tape to hell and back. I loved the monsters, incredible animations, and I loved just the world itself. It felt realistic to me, just a bunch of kids having fun playing card games, and were able to manifest them into insane holograms for my young mind to comprehend. This was my starting point for my love of Yu-Gi-Oh! I decided to go to my local library when I was in middle school to get every DVD of Yu-Gi-Oh! And every manga that they had available, so I can consume as much of this media as possible. The more I read and the more I watched, the more I fell in love with all the characters. Most people think I would love the main character Yugi because he's relatable and, you know, from a kid's standpoint, he's the coolest person there. Yet, I found myself loving and being more intrigued with Kaiba. Alright, but first things first, let's clear a little bit of the bad air out of the way. I want to address two things that happened really early on in the series. First is Kaiba beating up Yugi's grandpa so hard at a child's card game, he literally went into cardiac arrest. And to that matter, all I have to say is, he had it coming. Secondly, the fact that Kaiba ripped up the 4th copy of Blue Eyes White Dragon in front of Yugi's grandpa. And to that I say, Kaiba's only allowed 3 copies of each card in his deck, so it's useless to him. He won it fair and square, he can do whatever the hell he wants with it. Kaiba was an orphan with his brother Mokuba. In order to get out of the orphanage, he made a bet with Gozoburo to adopt him and Mokuba if he wins in a game of chess. So, Kaiba beats him in a game of chess and becomes the next heir of Kaiba Corp. But it doesn't end there. My man was given $10 million by his father and was told to make that into $100 million in 1 year. This shit was insane, but I also felt like Kaiba was able to do it because he's a fucking genius. But I shit you not, when I found out my boy made $10 million in 1 fucking day, I had the biggest, stupidest grin on my face and I laughed so hard. It was something only the great Seto Kaiba can do. Alright, I want to split this part into 3 different parts. First, it will be the Duelist Kingdom arc. Second will be the Battle City arc. And lastly will be the Dark Side of Dimension movie, which I feel is the conclusion to Seto Kaiba's character. So to start off, Kaiba's reasoning to going to Duelist Kingdom is to beat Pegasus and get his brother back. But in order to duel Pegasus, he had to duel Yugi. But dude had to deal with the most utter bullshit that attempt just made up in the duel. He was forced into a corner, he jumps on the ledge of the castle, and threatens to fall off. But can I add really quick that if Yugi didn't stop Atem from attacking Kaiba, my man will actually be dead. Like, dead, man. Atem didn't want to lose so badly, he was willing to kill a man. But let's dive into this a little bit. At first, it may seem like a very cheap way of winning, in which, in all fairness, it is. Yet Kaiba has one thing I feel like he holds on to most, and it's his pride. Nothing can waver his pride, not at all. But he does put it all aside for Mokuba, the one person in the world that truly understands Kaiba for who he really is. Kaiba isn't one to ask for help at all, but at this moment, he was very vulnerable and put all his trust into Yugi to let him win, to give him a chance to save his brother. Might not seem like it from the initial outcome, but I think Kaiba was disgusted with himself for having to stoop so low. In the end, Kaiba doesn't beat Pegasus, but I think it would bring a great amount of shame to him if he wasn't the one to at least attempt to save his brother. Once again, his pride is unwavering. Alright, and now we're at Battle City. This has to be peak Kaiba. During this arc, he's hosting a tournament which allows all duelists to participate. The catch is, there are actual rules, and not some made-up playground rules that always allow some crazy ass pulls for the main characters to use. We're not going to talk about the stupid incident of attacking the moon, because I'm really not going to get into that. The main drawing point to this is if you beat a duelist, they get to surrender their rarest card to you. I found it to be very fun and a way for our main cast to get stronger cards. Can we also bring up the clip of Kaiba telling Mokuba to make sure Joey's late so he can't participate? That shit's fucking funny.
And anyone who's late for registration will be disqualified. Mokuba, make sure Wheeler's late.
One thing I want to highlight is Kaiba speaks to Yugi. He didn't have to make it at all. He could have just let Yugi lose this life for the Sky Dragon, but he gave him the opportunity and he gave him words of encouragement. So I think I just wanted to highlight that because it's something I feel like he wouldn't have done on his own, and I feel like it's a way of giving back to him, allowing him to win the duel back in Duelist Kingdom and allow himself the opportunity to duel Pegasus in the first place. Next thing I want to highlight is no matter how many times Ishizu tells Kaiba that it's his destiny to save the world and be at the Pharaoh's side, he disregards all of it because he is destined to be great. Not because he is in this prophecy, it's because he is great. Even though it may be true due to the story, I find it so cool that he disregards all of that and just takes Obelisk the Tormentor. Finally, I want to highlight in this arc is the duel with Ishizu. For most of the duel, Ishizu knows exactly how things are going to play out, so she has a huge advantage.
ブラッドボルスを攻撃表示で召喚。ブラッドボルスを攻撃表示で召喚。さらにリバースカードをセットして。さらにリバースカードをセットして。
In other words, she's fucking cheating. Yet, I would like to point out how bad the tunnel vision for Kaiba on this entire duel. He doesn't acknowledge Blue Eyes in his hand at all, and he's so fixated on summoning Obelisk the Tormentor, which is the card that Ishizu gave him, to beat her. He disregards so many opportunities to summon Blue Eyes. The main point of this duel that I love, if anyone is going to fucking sacrifice a fucking god card, it would be no one other than Seto Kaiba himself. I just found that to be insanely cool and such a cool way for Kaiba to break destiny. I forgot to mention, after the Battle City tournament finals, Kaiba blows up the entire fucking island where the finals were being held and proceeds to fly away in a Blue Eyes White Dragon jet. Yes, a fucking Blue Eyes White Dragon jet. My man is a drama queen, and I love it. Alright, Dark Side of Dimensions, which I believe is the ending of Kaiba's story. In the Dark Side of Dimension, Kaiba is so obsessed with beating the Pharaoh that he does everything in his power to make it a reality. First, he had a simulation with the Pharaoh where he put so much effort into knowing all his strategies and all of his possible moves. Before we go any further, can we take a look at Seto Kaiba for a second? Like, god damn, he's insanely ripped. My man is playing with a deck that weighs 200 pounds, or he has some insane dueling workout routine. My man drew Obelisk the fucking Tormentor from cyberspace as well, so my man can do whatever the fuck he wants now. So Kaiba's trying to revive the Pharaoh to duel him one last time to prove to himself that he is the best. During some weird bullshit during the duel, they end up having to duel the Cubic guy, but I really don't want to focus on that. What I want to focus on is Kaiba's sacrifice towards the end of the duel. He saves Yugi so he can be the one to reach out to call to the Pharaoh. I want to point out what he said to Yugi after he asked him why he saved him. Kaiba's response is, for him, the Pharaoh, which I feel comes out of pure respect for Atem. He wouldn't want to shamefully bring back Atem if it meant hurting or killing Yugi in the process. Or I could be thinking a little bit too much into it and he believes that Yugi is the only one who's capable of summoning the Pharaoh. I just thought that went through my mind a little bit, so I thought I'd kind of let it out and give my theory on that. I truly believe that Kaiba has so much respect for the Pharaoh that he wouldn't do anything to shamefully get him into a duel. But he did do a lot of things to retrieve it, but I mean, he didn't really hurt anyone, right? And finally, we come to the bittersweet ending. Kaiba somehow invents a time machine, so it allows him to go back in time and duel the Pharaoh, which is something I absolutely blew my fucking mind. I understand the idea that people believe that as soon as Kaiba went back in time that he died, but I like to disagree with that, due to the official artwork of showing Kaiba and Yugi playing a game that Yugi designed in his space tower. I like to speculate a little about what happened to Kaiba when he went back in time. It seems the ending of the movie showed everyone moving on with their lives after high school, and just the main cast in general moving on. For Kaiba, this is his hurdle that he still needs to pass. I think when he went back in time, he did beat Atem. I believe he went back in time, beat Atem, and had his closure. He become the king of games and is satisfied with all the hard work that has paid off, and all the hard work that his money paid off. Even if it's not true, I like to believe this theory in my heart's heart, because I love Kaiba so much and I love the Blue Eyes White Dragon, and that's why Kaiba is my king of games. Thank you for making it to the end of the video, and I hope I earned your like or your sub. Please feel free to comment in what you think about Kaiba or what your favorite character in Yu-Gi-Oh! Is. Thank you again. Please stay to hear a word from our sponsor, and I'll see ya when I see ya.
This video is sponsored by Naruto vs. Ichigo. If you want to support the project, there will be a link to the Patreon below. There are many different levels of support, most of which give you access to Discord, behind-the-scenes exclusive content, and work-in-progress updates. Thank you for anything that you can contribute.